I've got a confession to make. I'm a long lens junkie. I have this wonderful 100 to 500 Canon RF lens, which I absolutely love. It is my baby, it's my workhorse. It's always on my camera. I just find it so versatile, great autofocus. For normal things that I'm shooting, this is a wonderful lens. I know there's a big argument over prime versus zoom. I won't get into that in this video. But for me, for my day-to-day, this lens is absolutely perfect. However, every now and again, I have to remove my workhorse lens and remind myself that I do have other lenses. For example, my 105 Sigma macro lens, which I absolutely love. I just don't get to use it often enough. I don't make time for it. So this week, I decided to go out and have a play with it. Here in Perth, it's been pretty wet lately, which of course means it's great for mushrooms. And that's what I've decided to focus this week on, using the macro to get some nice mushroom shots. It's also wildflower season here in Perth, so before I took the lens off to do some wildflower shots, I wanted to get my head back into the macro mindset. So mushrooms was a perfect place to start. The day I filmed this video, the weather was pretty bad, which is why I'm doing this preamble inside. Additionally, for some of the audio throughout the video, I just want to apologise. I will be upgrading my microphone setup soon, I promise you. Look at this for a mushroom. Now this is perfect. This mushroom's been in an area where the grass is slightly shorter, so it's nice and prominent. There's nice longer grass just behind you, which will make quite a nice dark background, create a really moody and dramatic shot. Absolutely lovely. Lots of texture on this mushroom. I'm really excited for this. So I think for this mushroom, oh, lots of shadow there. I think for this mushroom, I'm going to try and get a nice really dark background. Cool, I'm fluffy on the sides. I'm going to get really nice dark background. Use the foliage behind to do that. Really make this white stand out. Lovely texture on this mushroom. So yeah, very excited for this one. Helps if I don't get the camera and tripod in. Just move that there. There you go, you can still see my pretty face. So I've just swung back around the side of this mushroom, and it's actually, I don't know if it's the water or sap or I don't know what it is, but there's a very mild orange tint coming off in a liquid form coming off this mushroom. If anybody knows what it is, please let me know, that'd be amazing. It's a bit like a Lucasade kind of vibe, but it's really contrasting nicely with the white of the mushroom, so getting a really nice tight shot, not showing the whole fungus, just parts of it. I really like doing that with my macro. I do that a lot with my flowers and stuff. And there's also a bit of grass just sticking with it there, which is giving a nice bit of vibrant green. So you got the green, orange and white there just really popping, which I'm quite a big fan of. So I'm shooting quite a low f-stop, trying to really narrow that depth of field, blurring out the background as much as possible. It gives you a fixation, for me at least, it gives me a fixation of the texture of the mushroom of a specific point. I'll probably put a slightly, this is my macro lens, I'll probably put a slightly different lens on in a second to try and get more of the mushroom. And again, just see what works. Again, I'm shooting through some of the grass at the bottom just to add some nice foliage in the foreground and just make something slightly more interesting. So I've just switched out my lenses here. I've gone for a slightly wider 24 to 105mm lens. This is just to get context shots really. As much as I love, well, I do love my macro images. I don't do it often enough, but I do really enjoy them. alongside them, I very often do put a wider lens on and just get a bit more context to the image. So I'm deliberately underexposing again, just to, yeah, really darken, especially that tree. I don't really want any detail in it, but I want it to know that it's shadowing over this fungus here. So we've got here a really nice bracket fungus. I don't know what species. I'm not the most knowledgeable about what types of mushrooms there are. I'll have to go home and have a little ID. But we've got here a lovely bracket fungus just hanging off the side of this trunk here. What I want to do is capture the gills underneath and get some of that top, so you've got that mixture of both elements of the fungus. Because of how the shadow is right now, the sun's obviously behind me, which is great looking onto it, but it's slightly coming from above, which means the gills are in shade and it's actually creating quite a contrast. So I'm going to use a little light here to shine a little light underneath it, just take away some of that shadow, still keep some to make it look natural. So that's the idea of this process. Wonderfully, almost directly underneath this bracket fungus, which is just there, and I might have just found another shot for it. That's why it's so good to always play around and never just go for the easy shot. But what initially brought me to this tree trunk was, I know it doesn't look like it now, but it was when I went out, dark gloomy day. Which is why I wanted to photograph mushrooms, because I really love the sort of darker tones you get when looking at mushrooms. Very autumnal to me, even though it's definitely not autumn. I think that's just when I associate them in the UK. And I found one that's semi-decayed here, which I really like. At the base of the tree, hopefully I'll stop down the exposure a little bit, just to yeah, make it a little bit darker, a little bit more dramatic. But because it's already slightly past its best, it's just looking slightly worse for wear, and I think that's a really interesting subject. I do have my tripod set up. This is pretty much as low as my tripod can go. I don't think that's going to be low enough, so going to do handheld, so slightly faster shutter speed. Might have to increase the ISO, but it's all about balance, it's all about sacrifice. If you're going to increase the shutter speed, you're going to get maybe more noise on the ISO, but especially with mushrooms, I do a lot of test shots just to see what I like, play around with it quite a lot. You can take the time. You don't get that with, you know, birds or mammals or anything. Yeah, spend a bit of time really getting the perfect shot. It's okay to, you know, spend 20 minutes on a mushroom, if not longer. There's actually 2 mushrooms here, now I can see the stems of them, which is really interesting, and that has totally changed how I'm going to take this photo, I think. It's just started raining, which is wonderful. I'm using my hat to keep the camera dry. I thought this would be a great opportunity to sit, have a little drink, have a little snack, because let's be honest, snacks and drinks, life. And what have I done? Yes, I left the cap of my drink open this entire time, so it's been spilling slowly all over my bag. So I now no longer have a drink, and I have a very sticky, wet camera bag. Oh, it is raining quite hard, so I might run over to where another project of mine is going on and see if I can get a shot I'm after. Now, it's still raining pretty, not hard, just consistently light, which is just making everything very wet and damp. There are some mushrooms next to me in the field. They look like they've either been mown over or kicked over by someone or something. So they're not looking prime and perfect, but that's actually given me quite an interesting idea. There's a lot of gills on show. They're sort of at weird angles on their sides. Once this rain clears up a little bit, I think I'll attempt to get some of those underside gills and things. Should be quite an interesting idea. I don't think it even looks like it's raining on the camera, but it is just slowly pissing down. Look at that, now we've got blue sky. Just can't make up his mind today at all. The mushrooms that I have in front of me now, they're not the most interesting. They've been kicked over. They're in a grass field. Oh. Watch where you lie. That's an ant's nest. Anyway, as I was saying, these are really boring mushrooms. Yeah, wee bastards. So to make them more interesting, oh, there's lots of bugs on them actually, which makes it very interesting anyway. But what I'm gonna do is just photograph them in sections, really use the macro to its full potential. And that's just going to tell a slightly more interesting story than if it was the whole mushroom just in a grassy field. Again, opinions only. This is all art. Everyone's entitled to their opinions, but that's what I tend to think. So choosing interesting elements of the mushroom, where it's broken, where there are bugs, can be really effective. Yeah, especially with the number of, oh god, these ants are so annoying. I think we can all agree none of those photos are really worth writing home about, but that's okay. I think the idea really was to get my mindset into shooting macro again. It had been such a long time. I think it's really interesting, even throughout the day, how much my perspective started changing, how I started looking at things again. I think the key takeaway from this video is play. Play with different angles, play with different lenses, and play with different lights. You've got time with these stationary macro objects, so use that time. Don't just go up and take the first photo you can. That's it for another video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please remember to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.